Now at 9, the latest on a dispute between the city of Coffeyville and the firefighters union over hazard pay. Plus, McDonald County students helped pack 25,000 meals to help combat hunger. And what a new study shows about the homeless population in Harrison, Arkansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Coffeyville, Kansas firefighters say they are getting fed up over a dispute with the city. The city of Coffeyville and the fire department have been trying to settle the pay rate for the hazmat team. Last month, the fire chief, Kenny Ward, was allegedly fired by the city manager over disagreements about double time pay for the hazmat team. After weeks of no comment, during the last city council meeting, the city manager, Mark Hall, addressed the hazmat pay after the fire department walked out of the meeting. Hall said the city will pay the hazmat team on a straight time pay and will pass on the straight time pay reimbursement from the state fire marshal. According to Coffeyville, the hazmat pay contract with the state fire marshal only allows straight time pay for members on the hazmat team. The president of the Coffeyville Fire Union says the department will no longer attend commissioner meetings. Now they are focusing on starting fresh with the next group of county commissioners in 2024.
Now we can't sit back and be quiet. I mean, our honor and integrity, and I mean, it's everything that a firefighter character is off of, he attacked.
This is stemming from incorrect paperwork submitted by an unauthorized firefighter that set the hazmat team pay at double time. The city manager claims the paperwork was tampered with. However, the fire department and state fire marshal said it was an unintentional mistake. And now to weather, Chief Meteorologist Doug Cady joins us.
Well, not a bad day for us today. At least we got a little bit of rain in here. It wasn't extremely heavy last night through the morning hours, but we definitely need it. We could get some fog out there for us tonight, so watch out for that. 57 was our high. Normal high is 72, so well below where we should be for this time of the year. But all the rain is out of here. But again, we could get some patchy fog in here. One wave out. Second wave will start to affect us late in the daytime hours for us on Friday. Temperatures kind of chilly. Lamar 54, 57, and Anderson 58 in Miami. Pittsburgh is sitting at 55 degrees. Through the night, we drop back into the mid to upper 40s for overnight lows. And again, some patchy fog tonight, some rain chances late in the day tomorrow. Overall, a pretty nice weekend. We're going to start to warm up next week. We'll talk about it all here in just a bit.
Kansas lawmakers have enacted what may be the most sweeping transgender bathroom law in the U.S. The Republican-controlled legislature today overruled the Governor Laura Kelly's veto of the measure. At least 8 other states have enacted laws preventing transgender people from using the restrooms associated with their gender identities, but most of them apply to schools. The Kansas law applies also to locker rooms, prisons, domestic violence shelters, and rape crisis centers. The new law will take effect July 1st. A new study shows the number of people homeless in Harrison, Arkansas is on the decline, but some living there don't see it that way. Elizabeth Van Metry reports some locals believe a few asking for handouts are not necessarily the needy.
A couple of places in town that I don't go by myself and definitely don't go after dark just because it's kind of like the hangouts.
Brandy Forkey lives in Harrison and says it seems like there's a large homeless population with several hangout spots.
And you've got like one right here by Murphy's, and then you've got one on this corner, like right in the middle of the road, and then you've got one on this corner by Arby's.
Forkey says the number of homeless seem to have increased, but a new study from the Arkansas Balance of States states otherwise. The data collected in January shows 21 people in Harrison are homeless.
Very encouraged to see these numbers come back in.
Those numbers show 8 of those 21 are chronically homeless, 12 have mental health illness, 12 substance use disorders, and 9 are survivors of domestic violence. William Tollett works with homeless at the House of Hope. He says the numbers are down thanks to COVID-related funding. More homeless are off the street, but more people, panhandlers, seem to be taking over many busy intersections.
Yes, I'm going to say that probably less than 15% of those individuals are homeless. The biggest part of those individuals have housing. Over 70% of them have some type of income.
Tollett says it's important people don't give in to the panhandlers.
In Harrison, there are signs going up that actually is going to be discouraging people from giving money, but instead to contact the local charity or give that money to the charity of their choice that actually can work with those individuals.
Many people in the area are asking if any ordinances can be in place to stop panhandling. Cities can make some rules about panhandlers. For example, they can make it a law you can't step into the road, but they won't stop it completely. That's because a U.S. Supreme Court decision several years ago made panhandling protected, saying it is free speech. The Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce tonight hosted its 106th annual banquet. It's a chance for the chamber to honor its members and recognize their outstanding achievements and contributions to the community. Some of the awards handed out tonight include Young Professional of the Year, the Golden Apple Awards, and Business of the Year. Students and community members in Anderson, Missouri have come out together to provide meals for those in need. KOAM Jana Haldala has more.
About 150 students packed meals to fight hunger at McDonald County High School.
We had been looking for a new service project that everybody could participate in, didn't require that the kids put any money in, just come to school and do the service activity.
FFA advisor Emily Hutton says the FFA officers collected $8,000 from the community, businesses, and churches to purchase ingredients for 25,000 meals. The national organization Meals of Hope provided the gear and food to the high school, and what is left is the manpower.
It's a good way to get our community tied in, involve a lot of kids in the school while not taking up too much of their time. This event's only going to last 4 hours today, and so it's kind of quick, it's fast paced. That's why we have music. We've got 3 different assembly lines going. We're trying to get as much done in a little amount of time as we can.
Maggie Pratt, president of the FFA chapter, says this is the biggest way she has contributed to helping other people.
There's an ingredient label on the back of it, and all they have to do is follow the instructions, add a little bit of water, mix it together, heat it up, and then you've got it ready to go.
Hutton says she does this for the youth.
I know that there are kids in our chapter that utilize the backpack program, the MC for Kids trailer, that they need that support and that want to help participate in other community service events, but due to funding issues can't do that. So this is a way that they can still participate.
In Anderson, Jana Haldala, KOAM News.
Hutton hopes to continue this as a tradition. Coming up, a look at the potential impact of a bill in Missouri to restrict gender-affirming care for minors. Missouri is one of the many states going through a battle over gender-affirming care, but it stands out. That's because its Attorney General is trying to restrict that care for both minors and adults. A court is blocking the policy, which was supposed to start Thursday. Francis Watson has this look at the rule's potential impact.
I knew from an early age that I was different and that something was wrong.
But Stephanie Reed says she didn't get the care she needed until she was much older.
I started transitioning when I was 37 years old. And the thing is, when you wait that long, things get worse as time goes on.
Stephanie says she spent years trying to repress her feelings.
When I look at what the youth go through, I see what it is that I went through. I see that I didn't have the opportunity that they have today.
And that's what Planned Parenthood tries to provide.
This is, for many of them, life-saving health care.
Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's rule to restrict gender-affirming care for minors and adults in the state was set to go into effect Thursday. The rule would ban all medically necessary treatment for gender dysphoria unless the patient has gone through therapy for an extended period of time. A judge blocked the rule just hours before it was to take effect.
There's such a growing body of evidence, both in the pediatric and in the adult population, that suggests that access to gender-affirming hormone therapy is one of the most important and critical tools we have to help reduce the rates of suicide.
Dr. Colleen McNicholas says that Planned Parenthood will continue its efforts.
It's a devastating time for the community, but we will do what we do best, which is fight and provide great, excellent care.
This isn't just for kicks. It's nothing small or irrelevant. This is a life-changing thing that we absolutely have to have in order to get by.
Stephanie says she's grateful to have had the treatment she needed.
I'm so much better off than I was before. It's hard to even imagine who I used to be compared to who I am now.
The Food and Drug Administration has granted accelerated approval for Biogen's ALS drug treatment, tofersen. Tofersen is the first medication that targets a genetic cause of ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. It will be sold under the name Qalsody and administered through a spinal injection. The FDA said a clinical study showed the drug is likely to offer some benefits to patients. However, the agency is requiring that Biogen continue to test the drug in people to make sure it works. Older Americans are turning away from prescription medication. A study from Michigan Medicine's Nation Poll on Healthy Aging found Americans older than 50 are looking to drop some of their prescriptions. 67% who were surveyed say they would seek a doctor's advice before doing so. The survey also found 82% of Americans between 50 and 80 have at least one regular prescription. Doctors are calling the movement de-prescribing and say it is important for patients and providers to discuss the person's medical situation first. With the weather warming up, people are heading outside to do yard work, and doctors have tips to avoid injuries. Doctors say people often do more than their regular amount of exercise when cleaning up the yard. One tip, people should use the proper tools, such as shovels, wheelbarrows, and pitchforks. Doctors also recommend using the correct safety gear when landscaping, including eyewear and leather gloves. Placing ladders in a safe spot and having a spotter nearby when cleaning high places can also help avoid major injuries. Doug is back with a complete look at the forecast, and later, a Riverton High School basketball standout signs to continue his career at the college level. We'll hear from him in sports.
Well, it turned out to be an okay day for us today. Of course, we had the clouds, we had the showers throughout the morning hours, and then most of the rain has been out of here for a few hours, but it is still kind of gloomy out there. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Could get a little bit of fog in here tonight, so we do need to watch out for that. All right, at least we got some rain. It wasn't a ton, but 3/10 of an inch. Only at 3/4 of an inch for the entire month of April, so we're 3 1/4 inches behind on rain. If we look at our new drought tracker, still south of I-44, you're doing pretty good. But once you get to Joplin, it gets dry, and then a severe drought in Pittsburgh, and then extreme drought once you get out toward Parsons, Chanute, Independence, exceptional drought in our far western counties. So especially southeastern Kansas, we need to get a little bit of rain across the region. 55 in Neosho, 59 in Bonita. Chanute is sitting at 55 degrees. Again, we could get a little bit of patchy fog in here tonight due to the winds being calm. Humidity is high, so we are going to get that patchy fog starting to build. Already seeing it building in southwestern parts of Missouri. Everybody else is still fairly clear, but especially after 10, 11 o'clock, watch out for that fog. We'll dip down to about 47 for an overnight low, back to 56 by 10 a.m. All of our rain is gone, so we look pretty good. We do have a few clouds out there, so partly cloudy skies, but here's our next little wave. This will start to affect us by the time we get into late in the daytime hours for us tomorrow, this next little system. So here's system 1, system 2 is going to rotate in. We still have that flow out of the northwest giving us that cooler temperatures. All right, so rain gone tonight, starts to sneak back up. Here's 6 p.m., 9 p.m., midnight tomorrow night, 3 a.m. Saturday, so it's mainly overnight hours. We can go through time, and again, that patchy fog tonight, mid-40s for overnight lows, some sunshine during the morning. We get into lower 60s by the noon hour, and I think most of us, actually a decent day. We get up to about 65, 66 degrees. Here's 5 p.m. You can see a few random showers trying to get in here as we get through tomorrow evening. So Kansas, Oklahoma working into southwest Missouri. So here's 11 p.m. and showers stick around into early Saturday morning. Then they get out of here. We start the day with clouds. And then Saturday afternoon, not bad. Sunshine, high temps mainly into the mid-60s by the time we get into Saturday afternoon. All right, 53 at 9, 64 by 11. By 3 p.m., 66 degrees. So at least temperatures for us tomorrow are okay, but we're going to see those clouds increasing through the day and those showers popping up across the region. All right, 65 tomorrow, 66 Saturday, 64 on Sunday. A few showers Monday and Tuesday. Thunderstorms return next Thursday and Friday.
Oh man, I mean, we're finally getting a little bit more rain on the forecast.
Yeah, which is good, and temperatures warming
much
up.
needed. Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you, Doug. Coming up, bad news for the economy.
New government data shows the U.S. economy appears to be slowing down, and there may be more trouble ahead. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington, and I'll explain coming up.
New GDP numbers show the Federal Reserve's rate hikes are putting the brakes on economic growth. Fox's Madeline Rivera reports on the data from Washington.
Concerns about the U.S. economy are growing, with a new report showing its momentum is slowing. The country's GDP did rise at an annual rate of 1.1% in the first quarter of the year, but that's down from 2.6% in the last 3 months of 2022.
Most recessions start with a downturn in business spending, and I'm concerned about the outlook on that front.
Investments in business and the housing market dropped, hammered by higher interest rates. But consumers are still spending, and the labor market remains resilient. Jobless claims fell last week, a sign of progress, says the White House.
The president always is very clear. When he talks about the economy, he always says, one of the things that he says very frequently is that when it comes to inflation, when it comes to lowering costs, that is a priority for him.
The gradual slowdown may be a positive sign for the Federal Reserve, which had been aiming to cool the economy without triggering a recession. However, many Americans are pessimistic. A new poll shows 78% of voters think the economy is in bad shape.
We are seeing a decline in global demand for U.S. securities, and there's a reason for that. The dollar's dominance is at risk.
And there are more challenges ahead. In the banking sector, as First Republic Bank teeters on the edge of collapsing, and in Congress, where lawmakers are struggling to hit a deal to lift the debt ceiling.
We have to avoid a default. It'll be devastating to our economy and the reputation of the United States.
The Federal Reserve is set to meet next week, but key economic data, including Thursday's GDP report, could influence their decision on whether to impose more rate hikes or pause them. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
If you are considering closing a credit card, there are some pros and cons to be aware of. A financial expert says if you are leaning toward canceling a card, your payment history will stay on your credit report up to a decade. That is if your payment history is positive. If it's negative, it will stay up to 7 years. The financial expert says some advantages of canceling a card include helping you stay on top of your finances if the interest rates are high. Some disadvantages to consider. You'll have less credit available and it can hurt your credit score. A lawsuit looking to break up Facebook's parent company Meta won't be moving forward. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit tossed out an antitrust suit filed by New York and dozens of other states. The group was looking to unwind Meta's past acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp, but the 3-judge panel ruled the states were years too late in filing their challenge. The states also failed to persuade the judges that Meta's data policies harmed competition. Up next, how some police officers show a true act of kindness to a stranded family of ducks. Police officers in Nevada made a rescue of several stranded baby ducklings and their mother. The officers responded to the call from a concerned man who saw the group of ducklings and their mama stranded in the middle of the road. Once there, the officers used the man's basket and gathered all of the little ducklings and their mama and successfully moved them to a park. Thankfully, none of the ducks were injured. That's awesome. 31 minutes news, weather, and sports coming your way. How some local libraries are celebrating National Library Week. Plus, it's a tradition to hold a torch and to run to kick off the Olympics, and annual Special Olympics events are no different. We'll learn about the local tradition. This week marks National Library Week. Libraries across the 4 states encourage you to pop up and grab a book or two, and maybe thank the staff for everything that they do for the community. This week not only celebrates books, but also the people who work in libraries. The theme for National Library Week is There's So Much More to the Story. And stories fill libraries from floor to ceiling and wall to wall. KOAM's Carrie Worthen has more.
National Library Week is an opportunity for libraries to make connections with people. We celebrate libraries. We celebrate people that work in libraries. And of course, we always want to try to encourage more use of libraries by our local communities.
Libraries are full of stories in a variety of ways, from books, audiobooks, ebooks, and more.
Do everything from trying to tutor, provide information literacy skills to people, spaces for people to do the work, particularly our students as well as our faculty.
The theme for National Library Week is There's So Much More to the Story. Pitt State's archivist Steve Cox knows just how much more.
There's a lot here. We've got a really large storage area where everything is kept in a climate-controlled environment. But to really focus on some of the hidden collections that we have, we've got a very, very large collection, 2 collections actually, of pulp science fiction books written from the 40s up through the 90s. But our strengths are the political history of Southeast Kansas and the mining history.
Cox has been with the library for the past 8 years and is now retiring at the end of the school year, ending this chapter but starting a new one.
My wife and I are going to do a lot of traveling. We've done a lot of domestic traveling, but we're hoping to get overseas. Our first trip shortly after I retire is going to England and France, so we're looking forward to that.
And if the only way you can travel is through books, Pitt State's Axe Library has just that for you.
Axe Library is just a great place to work.
The library is open 7 days a week, and anyone from the public has access to it. A member of the Pittsburgh Police Department didn't let the rain prevent him from keeping an annual tradition alive. Lieutenant Chris Moore ran a torch from the Law Enforcement Center to Carney Smith Stadium. That torch represents the beginning of a couple of Special Olympics events in Pittsburgh. Lieutenant Moore has been doing the torch run for several years.
For us as officers, getting able to run the torch to a Special Olympics event is great because we get to see all the smiles, do all the high fives. We get to hang out with the athletes, and then they know that we're there for them. So we're going to support them in their endeavors, and then they support us in ours.
One of those events, the Youth Regional Track and Field Competition, happened this morning. The Southeast Track and Field event will happen next Wednesday at Erie High School. Some Crowder College students today worked on their graffiti skills, but don't worry, it was part of a school event. The students are putting together a graffiti project on the wall of the Elsie Plaster Community Center in Neosho. Officials say it lets students exercise their creativity while brightening up the community.
Things like it's tied with more things that I feel like they have experience with. So it's a way to get them somewhat interested in things, allows them to learn the traditional techniques that graffiti artists have used in the past, and it gives them a space to do it where they're not going to get a $600 fine and jail time.
The students worked on the graffiti wall for 3 hours. With the fast-paced growth of technology, especially the use of artificial intelligence among students, more educators are raising concerns about who, in fact, will do the work, students or AI. Fox's Brian Webb looks for the answers.
College students are strolling and skateboarding their way straight into finals week. Most of them tell us they aren't using AI to get better grades, but fellow students, maybe.
I feel like the goal should be for just assistance, but I feel like a lot of students will make it be like, this can just do it for me.
You want to get the grade and just turn it in faster. That's why I understand why people use it.
We spoke with Professor Kambum Padi, the head of ASU's Computer and AI program. He calls this more cat and mouse between student and professor, with the usual pros and cons.
That could be seen as a positive thing because they're getting their message across, but in terms that I can understand. But the other side of it is they can also use it to for things like plagiarism.
He also says some professors are actually embracing AI and its kinks, called hallucinations.
And so some professors have actually used this to say, okay, you can ask ChatGPT for the answer to this factual question, but then you need to correct it.
Professors can often spot sudden good work from a previously poor student, but many are hoping the honor system is still in effect.
There is nothing I can do short of just holding on to you and going everywhere you go to make sure that you are not cheating. I'm not here to be policing.
And these students intelligently agree.
One of my professors talked about it, but he didn't say too much on it. He just said, don't cheat, make sure y'all are being responsible, because if y'all do cheat, y'all know it's at risk.
But I've never seen anybody actually get caught with it.
Gotcha.
I don't think students want to take that risk.
A bit later, a group of scientists raced against time to explore the deep sea. We'll hear from one of them about the project.
Well, it turned out to be a gloomy day for us today. We had the showers really last night through the morning hours, and then the clouds kind of sticking around as we went all the way into the evening hours. But a little bit of clearing out there right now, but we could get some patchy fog. Nice shot Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. But we only got 3/10 of an inch. Yes, it's better than nothing. For the month, we're at 3/4 of an inch, but we are over 3 inches behind. So the new drought tracker comes out every Thursday, a little drier across the region. You can definitely see our western counties extreme and exceptional drought. So we need more rain. Temperatures mainly sitting into the mid 50s right now. We'll drop back into the mid 40s later on tonight. Again, we are watching for some fog. Reason why, we have some moisture on the ground, the winds are calm, and the humidity is high. So as that continues to climb throughout the overnight hours, we're going to get some patchy fog starting to build in a little bit. A few patches in northeastern Oklahoma picking up right around Cassville up to Monette and Aurora, and this will all fill in throughout the overnight hours tonight. Temperatures are going to drop back to about 47, back to 56 by 10 a.m. But all the rain that we had earlier, it's gone. So we look fine for the rest of the night. But look at our next batch. Showers, thunderstorms out across western Kansas. This will start to affect us late in the daytime hours for us tomorrow. So this wave right here is going to rotate through, very similar to the one that is rotating out. All right, so rain chances, none tonight except for the fog. Here's 6 p.m. tomorrow. They start to climb tomorrow evening throughout the night, but any rain that we do get should be out of here by the time we head into Saturday morning. All right, so patchy fog tonight. We drop back mid 40s as we go through the morning hours. We bounce into the lower 60s by the noon hour. Clouds thicken during the afternoon. I think most of us 65, 66, 67 degrees across the region. Here's 5 p.m. some showers starting to develop in our western counties, and we'll see this batch of rain push in as we go through tomorrow night. Again, it's going to be light, it's going to be scattered, and then once we get to Saturday morning, we start with clouds, and then it turns out to be a pretty nice day. Partly sunny skies, high temps into the mid 60s. Also tomorrow, we're going to go into the mid 60s. 9 a.m., 53. 1 p.m. up to 64. Clouds thicken, but we should get 65, 66 for a high for us tomorrow. All right, with our rainfall tomorrow night, again, not super heavy. It's going to be fairly light, but a lot of areas will pick up 1/10, 2/10 of an inch, maybe even 1/4 to 1/2 an inch in spots in southeastern Kansas, which would be fantastic. 65 tomorrow, 66 on Saturday, 64 on Sunday. Couple random showers Monday and Tuesday. We get into the 70s next week. Thunderstorm chances next Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, like we said earlier in the show, just fingers crossed on that rain, especially next Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Hopefully get some heavy rain to come down for our
Definitely
area.
need it.
All right, thank you, Doug.
You bet.
It may be only spring, but temperatures in Spain are set to top 100 degrees this week, and the scorching heat could break records in parts of the country. In the hottest region of Seville, the traditional spring fair known as Fria de Abril is underway, with festival goers roasting in traditional flamenco dresses, suits, and top hats. Climate experts warn global temperatures are on the rise, with the last 8 years being the warmest ever. Coming up in sports, a Southeast Kansas basketball standout signs to continue his career at a local college. Plus, the Frontenac Raiders aim to stay undefeated at home against Galena. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more next.
Well, the Frontenac Raiders have been dominant this whole baseball season. The Raiders are 11-0 coming into the night, and 4 of those wins have been by shutout. Tonight, Raiders aim to stay rolling, hosting a CNC doubleheader against Galena. On Game 1, Alex Williams on the mound for Frontenac gets the swing and the miss in the top of the first. At the bottom of the inning, Logan Myers on first for the Raiders. Takes off and gets the steal. Myers in scoring position for Frontenac. And moments later, he's on third for Mario Mangini. He sends the first pitch he sees into left. Myers scores. Frontenac goes up 1-0. Low-scoring game in Game 1, but the Raiders go on to win that one 3-1. So in Game 2, Raiders try to complete the sweep, and they get it done 11-1 in 5 innings. So Frontenac is now 13-0 this season. They'll be back on the field on Monday on the road against Colgan. The St. Louis Cardinals finish up their 4-game series with the San Francisco Giants this afternoon. Now, the Cardinals try to avoid the sweep after dropping each of the first 3 games in San Francisco. Now, St. Louis has lost 7 of 9 coming into the day. We're scoreless in the 7th until Alec Burleson drills one high and deep to right. Solo home run there. Puts the Cardinals up 1-0. Then in the 8th, another long ball here. Paul DeYoung up and out to left. He goes 2 for 4 with that homer and a pair of RBIs. Cardinals shut out the Giants and avoid the sweep 6-0. The Kansas City Royals also in action tonight, kicking off a 4-game set on the road against the Minnesota Twins. The Royals have lost 10 of their last 12 coming into the night. Tonight it's another one. Twins win it 7-1. A Vinny Pasquantino solo home run, the only run of the night for Kansas City. Riverton High School basketball standout Jamie Richardson signs today to play college basketball. Richardson is headed to Coffeyville Community College. He's an all-state player and a multiple-time all-CNC pick, including being a unanimous first-team all-conference selection this season. He also topped the 1,000-point mark in his high school career. Here he is on joining the Red Ravens and head coach Jay Herkelman.
They were really straight up with me, told me what I needed to work on, just everything. And he's very successful at what he's done, so, the success really stood out to me, and how much success he's had really set him apart from other coaches.
He's a good player. Obviously, he's got an opportunity to do something great at Coffeyville, but just before that, we were talking about the NFL draft.
Yep.
The Chiefs have yet to pick in the first round. I think we're on pick 22 or 23, 24, somewhere around there. So
yeah, we're at pick 23. My team up, the Minnesota Vikings, is on the clock right now. Any guesses as to who the Chiefs select, though?
They don't have a lot of needs. This is something we talked about. They don't have a lot of needs. Everybody could use a pass rusher, but the Chiefs, I feel pretty good about where they're at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Nolan Smith, the DN from Georgia, is still on the board. I'm sure they would love to have him.
No doubt.
All right. That's it for sports. We're back with more after this. A global team of scientists says they're racing against the clock to find tens of thousands of new species living in the world's oceans before they go extinct. The project is being run by the Nippon Foundation and the Marine Research Unit Institute, NECTIN. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look at why researchers say this project is critically important.
Scientists from around the world are embarking on the largest mission in history to discover new life forms in the ocean. Before, researchers say, undocumented species are wiped out by overfishing and climate change.
We have global warming. The ocean's losing oxygen, it's acidifying. If that process continues, then we will face another major extinction in the ocean.
The project, called Ocean Census, aims to find 100,000 new marine species over the next decade. It's an unprecedented task when only about 2,000 new ocean organisms are found each year. Research boats and diving teams will travel across and beneath the world's oceans, collecting specimens. Those organisms will then be sent to various labs where scientists will study their DNA and use artificial intelligence to determine if a new species has been discovered.
We can generate that baseline understanding of their genomes, and forevermore there's a record of what that organism's DNA looked like. And this will be really important as we move forward to try to understand what is out there, and are we doing a good job at protecting it.
Scientists say no time can be wasted, adding that humanity relies on oceans and what lives in them for food, medicines, and jobs.
We need people to fall in love with the majesty and the wonder of ocean life if we're going to have any chance of protecting it.
Coming up, we'll check back in on Patches, the 40-pound cat who went viral, and see how he's faring in his new home. A Virginia woman who adopted a 40-pound cat named Patches is dieting in solitary with her kitty. She's also putting them both on an exercise routine, as Jeannie Moose reports.
No wonder the cat got my tongue.
Yes, this is Patches.
The nearly 40-pound cat just got a new owner, and together they're going on a weight loss program.
Well, we're going to do it together, although the vet pointed out to me that I don't need to lose 50% of my body weight. He does.
Patches was surrendered by his previous owner to Richmond, Virginia Animal Care and Control, the biggest cat the shelter ever encountered. They put him up for adoption, describing his body as gloriously gluttonous. Kay Ford won the right to take Patches home. It took 2 to carry his cage, after writing that she wanted to go on the weight loss journey with him. Is he heavy on your lap?
The blood circulation hasn't been cut off yet. He's actually kind of comfy.
Wrote one fan on Patch's Facebook page, "I desperately want to put my face in his belly." Others have created memes like the Meowna Lisa. After the first week,
Oh, thank you.
Kay and Patches had bonded. So what if he can't fit through the door to the cat bed? He will eventually.
It's okay, honey. I'm not laughing at you.
The first stop in Operation Lose Weight was a trip to the vet. Patches is already slimming down.
38.8? Okay. That's awesome.
Tests indicate there's nothing wrong that diet and exercise won't fix. The cat weighs 5 times more than Kay's Yorkshire Terrier. When it comes to weight loss goals, let's say a year from now someone says to you, "What's new, pussycat?" What do you hope to be able to say?
I love that.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. For Patches,
A 20-pound weight loss, and I would certainly like to say the same.
Which would make her a copycat. Funny, Kate said the same thing the first moment she laid eyes on Patches.
Whoa.
Whoa, 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 indeed. And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of a polar bear cub at a zoo in Germany. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.